In this video, I'm going to show you a step-by-step way to turn your paycheck into wealth because unfortunately for most Americans, your paycheck is just a way to pay your bills, which is why the majority of Americans are broke, drowning in debt, with no hope to become wealthy. But that ends today because in this video, I'm going to show you the 6 bite-sized steps that you can take to build more wealth than you ever thought was possible with a systemized plan. And the way that it works is by understanding that building wealth is like climbing a mountain. And the way you climb a mountain is by taking one small step at a time, and you're going to do the same thing. First, you're going to prepare to climb. Then we're going to do C-L-I-M-B. So let's break it all down. And the way I'm going to do it in this video is I'm going to start with C, then L, then I, then M, then B. And then we're going to start at the bottom with the pre-climb. That way we can tie this whole video together. So let's break this down. So let's start with step number 1. C, create your financial base. And again, we're going to end with step number 0. So starting with step number 1, creating a financial base. The way that you succeed here is by doing these 2 things in this order. Number 1, I want you to save $2,000 as fast as possible. And step number 2 is you're going to pay off all of your high interest debts like your credit card debts, and you're going to do this in this order. Starting with saving your first $2,000. The reason why you want to save $2,000 is because the problem most people make is you don't have any cash savings. And so now when you're trying to pay down your high interest debts like your credit card debts, you get hit with some sort of emergency. Your car breaks down, your window breaks, your AC stops working, your heat stops working, and now you have to go into credit card debt to fix this problem. So you thought you were taking action by paying down your credit card debt, but then you take 2 steps back because now you got to fix this problem with your Amex. That's why I want you to start with a little $2,000 savings account. That way you can just have a starter fund for your emergency savings to protect you against an emergency. This is not your emergency savings. This is just the starter fund. That way once you do this, now you can start attacking these credit card debts. Now notice, we're not talking about doing anything else here. We're not talking about investing your money. We're not talking about getting into wealth planning strategies. All you want to do is get out of the financial hole, because when you are in credit card debt, or if you don't have $2,000 saved up, you are in what I call the financial danger zone. You were in a place with your money where you are so vulnerable that you're going to be preyed on by a whole bunch of people, payday loans and all these credit card companies, because you are the prime customer, because you don't have money and you probably want nice things and you want a little bit of relief. So all these lenders are trying to give you free money. That way you can pay them insane interest rates and make them rich for the rest of their lives, and you stay stuck in debt for the rest of your life. I don't want that for you. But in order for you to get out of this financial danger zone, you're going to have to make some extreme sacrifices. So what I say is, when you are here, when you do not have your financial base created, you are going to make the most extreme sacrifices. This means right now, if you don't have this, no more vacations, no more eating at restaurants, no more buying nice things, and no more Netflix until you have achieved this. Now you might say, well, Jaspreet, what does Netflix have to do with my credit card debt? That might take a while. And it's not the $15 a month that you're paying for your Netflix. It's the 2 to 3 hours a day that you're spending watching Netflix. If you have credit card debt, you should not feel comfortable watching whatever's on Netflix. You should not feel comfortable sitting there on the sofa and just relaxing at the end of the day. Right now, you gotta have the fire on your butt because you got a problem. You were in the financial danger zone and you gotta get serious about it. You should not feel comfortable sitting there relaxing at the end of the day, because right now, you gotta figure out how to get out of this. And that means turn that Netflix time into learning time. Use the Netflix time to read books, watch YouTube videos, or listen to podcasts on how you can earn some more money, how you can save some more money, how you can invest your money, and how you can start a business. You've got to figure out how you can get this extra money, or use this time just to go out and work some more. Maybe you go drive an Uber. Maybe you go out and do some other side jobs that we can make some extra money, because right now you got to pay down this credit card debt and save this $2,000 as fast as possible. Once you get past this step, it's going to get a lot easier and it's going to be a lot more fun. But this is the step where you have to make the decision. Do you actually want to build wealth, or do you just say that you want to do it? Everybody says that they don't want to be in a bad financial situation. Everybody says that they want to be able to buy whatever they want without having to worry about the money, but you're going to have to be able to make the sacrifices that most people are not able to do. The reason why I call this channel the minority mindset is because it's the mindset of thinking differently than the majority of people. It has nothing to do with the way you look. It's all about the mindset. And most people don't have the minority mindset. It's easy to complain. It's easy to talk about how hard it is. It's easy to just wish things. It's a whole lot harder to do it. And on this channel, I don't make these videos to get you to like me. I get these videos to help you be better with money. And if you actually want to make the change, you got to be willing to make the sacrifice sacrifice for a little bit. My goal is not for you to never live big. My goal is not for you to just make sacrifices for the rest of your life. My goal is for you to make those sacrifices for a period of your life so you can enjoy the rest of your life without ever having to worry about money again. But it starts with you changing where you are today, which is why you gotta create your financial base to build the foundation and get out of the financial danger zone. We're moving one step higher in the wealth mountain. We covered the C. Now let's talk about the L. Lead your money. This step is all about creating a system for your money, because the majority of people make money, they pay taxes before they see their money, and then they spend their money, and then they wonder where all their money went. And if you have any money left over, this is where now people think about how much money should I save, how much money should I invest. But this is the way that broke people think, and I want you to start understanding and thinking the way wealthy people think, because what every single wealthy person does is they know how much money they're going to invest. They know how much money they're going to save before they even generate that money. They have a plan for their money before they earn the money, because they always want to save and invest their money before they spend their money. Notice the difference. Broke people spend their money and then they save or invest if there's anything left. Wealthy people and people who become wealthy save and invest their money first, then you spend whatever's left. But this starts with you creating a system for your money, and a very simple way that you can start is something like my 75-15-10 plan, which says for every dollar that you earn from here on out, 75 cents is the maximum that you can spend, 15 cents is the minimum that you are investing, and 10 cents is the minimum that you are saving. Now what you're doing is a couple things. Number one, you're not spending all of your money because you're only living off of 75 cents of every dollar that you earn, but you know that you are investing money and saving money before you do anything else. And this is where you become wealthy. This 15 cents of every dollar that you earn, your investment money, this is where you build wealth. This is what's going to protect you against an emergency. But this is where you have to systemize this, because the first thing you might say is, well, Jaspreet, how in the world do you expect me to live off of 3/4 of every dollar that I earn when I can barely get by right now? Think about it like this. When you get paid, you pay the government taxes. You don't even see that. So you don't even realize how much money you're paying in taxes. Those taxes are making the government rich. I want you to tax yourself. But now this tax that you're putting on yourself is going to make yourself rich. If the government raised your taxes tomorrow, what are you going to do? You're going to complain and cry and scream, but then you're going to figure out how to pay it, because if you don't, you're going to go to jail. You're going to do the same thing for yourself. You're going to figure out how you can tax yourself. That way you always have money to save and invest. So what I'd like you to do is go out and create 3 different bank accounts. Your bank should allow you to do this for free. If they don't, get a new bank. Create 3 bank accounts. One to hold your spending money, one to hold your investment money, one to hold your savings money. Now, as soon as you get paid, have the money automatically pulled out of your checkings account and deposited into these different accounts automatically. That way you don't accidentally spend that money, and that way you don't see that money. Now when you don't see it, automatic, and you're not as tempted to spend it. Now you might have to downsize your lifestyle. Maybe you stop driving the Jaguar and the BMW and the Mercedes, and now you got to go to Toyota for a little bit. Maybe you got to live in a smaller apartment or a smaller house, and maybe you don't go on as many vacations for a little while. But the goal now is when you start investing your money, then now these investments start to make you more money, because your investments pay you even when you're not working. See, when you go to work, you got to go there and do something to get paid. If you don't work, you don't get paid. Maybe you can get by for a little while, but eventually your boss is going to find out and they're going to fire you. If you work, you get paid. If you don't work, you don't get paid. With your investments, if you don't work, you get paid. That's the goal with your investments, to keep investing your money. Now, this is where it does help to be a smarter investor, and that's why my team at Briefs Media publishes a free newsletter 6 times a week called Market Briefs, where we break down what's happening in things like the stock market and the housing market and the crypto market and our economy and the global economy into a fun and witty and easy to read newsletter. It's read by hundreds of thousands of investors every single morning, and it's completely free, and it's a super fun read. I mean, we have a lot of fun writing it, and I know you're gonna have a lot of fun reading it as well, and you have nothing to lose because, well, you don't have to pay anything to join. So if you want to join Market Briefs for free, I got the link for you to join down in the description below. Now this is where the question everybody asks is, Jaspreet, what should I invest my money in? Should I buy Tesla? Should I buy Amazon? Should I buy Apple? Should I buy Nvidia? But that's the wrong question. The first thing is, you got to understand, what is the game that you want to play? Do you want to be a passive investor? Do you want to be an active investor? I mean, do you want this money to be automatically invested? Or do you want it to sit into this account until you find a good opportunity? And then you have to understand, how involved do you want to be with your investments? Do you just want to invest your money into the total stock market or to the S&P 500? Or do you want to actually go out and find a stock? Or do you want to actually go out and find a real estate property to invest in? And then you got to know your goal. Do you want to invest for cash flow, or do you want to see price growth? Most of my investments are for cash flow. I like cash flow because, well, as I invest my money, that means I get more cash flow. Every 3 months, my stocks pay me a dividend. I get a dividend check every quarter. because these investments are just sending me money. My rental properties pay me every single month. Now this is income that I can use to pay for whatever I want. Right now I'm taking that money, I'm just reinvesting it, but I could use that money to pay for my expenses. And you got to know the game that you want to play. Do you want cash flow? Do you want appreciation? Then you got to figure out which assets do you want to invest in. Do you want to invest in stocks? Do you want to invest in real estate? Do you want to invest in startups? Do you want to invest in cryptocurrency? What is it that you want to invest in? But it starts with understanding the questions to ask. And the mistake that so many people make is not investing in the right thing, is that they never get started or they become a trader. They think that they're an investor, and then as soon as markets go down, they panic and then they sell. You buy high and they sell low. But this is where I just want you to get started. Start by systemizing your money and then learn how to invest. That goes way beyond the scope of this video, but I have a ton of resources. Start reading market briefs. And as you learn, you can start making more sophisticated and smarter investments as you start to invest in your investor education. We are moving on up the wealth mountain. Now let's talk about interest-free living. Now we get to really have some fun, because there are two main things that I like to talk about when it comes to interest-free living. That means number one, no more financing things that don't put money in your pocket. And number two, my rule of five. Let's start with this. We live in a consumerism society in America. That means people love spending money. But more than that, people love spending money that they don't have, because we have made credit so widely available, and our entire economy runs on credit. I mean, our government is drowning in debt. Our entire economic system relies on people spending money they don't have through debt, loans, lines of credit, credit cards, you name it. And now it's become even easier with things like buy now, pay later, which now you could use to finance your groceries or whatever else you want. And this is where I want you to break away from that. Because if you want to live a life that most people dream about, you can't keep doing the things that everybody else keeps doing. I mean, if you keep doing what the majority of people do, you're going to end up like the majority of people. And right now, the majority of people are broke and drowning in debt. And so if you don't want to live like the majority of people, you got to start thinking like the minority of people. And that means you got to start doing different things. And that means stop financing things. That means stop financing the phone, even if it's 0% APR. Stop financing your Gucci because you can't afford it. And stop financing the things that don't put money in your pocket. The only exception to this is your house. That means, yes, you do not finance your car either. Now, this can make people feel a little uneasy because you might never have heard something like that before. But here's the reality. Your car is not something that is going to put money in your pocket. I mean, cars drop in value very fast. And when you finance a car, you are doing a triple whammy. You are financing something that is losing value. You're financing something that has a limited time span, and then you're paying interest on top of that. So you're paying interest on something that is going to lose you value, and something that you have to get another of, because that car is not going to last you 50 years. You're going to need a new car in a few years. And so now when you're financing it, yeah, you're making BMW richer, you're making your banker richer, but it's coming out of your pocket. You're using your income to make them rich. I'm not against you buying a BMW or something nice. I just want you to be able to afford it first. So if you want to buy that car, fine. Just don't finance it. Be able to afford it with cash. Now, you might have to drive a little bit smaller, a little bit not as exotic right now for a little while until you can afford the nicer car. But instead of paying the $500, $600, $700, $800 a month in your car payment, plus the premium gas, plus the more expensive insurance, plus the more expensive oil changes, now you take that money and you can use it to fund your investments. You got more money, a little bit less of an exotic car, but more money in your pocket to build your wealth. Secondly, when it comes to the rule of five, you want to buy something nice, you want to buy a nice Rolex or whatever you want for yourself, great. When it comes to luxuries, I follow the rule of five, which is if I can't buy 5 of them, I can't afford 1 of them. Simple. Because the mistake that many people make, I know I made this too when I was getting started with my whole journey, was if I had $1,000 in the bank, I assumed that I could afford a $1,000 watch because I'm not financing it. I got the $1,000, but that's the wrong game. When it comes to luxuries, if I can't buy 5 of them, I can't afford 1 of them. Oh baby, we're making our way to the top. Now let's go to M, multiply your income. Here's what happens about now. You start to like this financial education thing. You start to like this whole idea of being smart with your money. And now if you're following something like the 75-15-10 plan, here's what's going on. You're making money, you're spending 75 cents for every dollar that you earn, you're investing 15 cents, and you're putting aside 10 cents to save. And then what you realize is, man, I wish I could invest more money because I know that these investments are going to make me wealthy. I'm starting to see the success with these investments. So how do I do that? Now, the thing that most people do in this instance is you try to find ways to spend less money. Now maybe instead of 75-15-10, it's 70-20-10. You're trying to find more ways to squeeze pennies out of your pie, which is a great place to start. You're trying to squeeze more money out of your income, your budget, that way you have more money to invest. But there's a limit to how much you can squeeze. There's a limit to how much you can cut back. but there's no limit to how much you can earn. Now, I'm not against you cutting back, but I also want you to understand that you have a lot more potential if you now work on earning more money. Because let's say you're making $50,000 a year right now. Well, maybe you can find an additional $1,000 a year that you can invest, or maybe the alternative is you try to grow your income to, let's say, $500,000 a year. Now, instead of trying to invest an additional $1,000, now you can find an additional $100,000 a year to invest. Now, when I say that, you might say, well, Jaspreet, what the heck are you talking about? How in the world am I supposed to go from $50,000 a year to $500,000 a year? Well, this is where I want you to think a little bit differently. And I'm going to talk about this in the end of the video. But if you now were tasked with figure out how you can make $500,000 a year, what are you going to do? You're going to be very confused. You're going to be shocked. You're going to say, that's not possible. You're going to say, you're stupid, Jaspreet. And then maybe one day you're going to wake up in the middle of the night and say, let me start reading about this. You start Googling it, start watching YouTube videos on how to do it. Maybe you buy a couple books on how to earn some more money, and maybe you try a couple things. I mean, you're probably going to lose. Maybe you buy a class and it goes nowhere and it's a waste of money, and maybe you try to start some online store and it goes nowhere and it's a waste of time and it's a waste of money. But if you keep trying, maybe you find a way to add an additional, let's call it $1,000 a month to your income. Well, that's not bad. And if you can figure out how to make an additional $1,000 a month, well, you just keep trying to grow that and refine that, and it won't be long before you can turn that to $5,000 a month in income. And if you can make $5,000 a month in income from the side of doing what you want, I'm pretty confident you can turn that to $10,000 a month. And if you can make $10,000 a month, well, what's stopping you from turning that to $20,000 a month or $50,000 a month? And this is where understanding the game. There are many ways that you can earn more money. Maybe you go out and you start a side business. Maybe you start your own business. Maybe you figure out how to ask for a raise. Maybe you figure out how to ask your boss for an additional $10,000 a year. Maybe you get a new career. Maybe you get a new job. Maybe you go online and you get a certification. That way you can earn more money. Maybe you go back to school. That way you can get a better job. There's a lot of ways to go about doing this. But the reason why you're working to earn more money now is that way you have more money going into this funnel, right? You have the system. Whether you're making $50,000 a year, $500,000 a year, or $5 million a year, money's going to be spent and invested and saved. And as you make more money, you have more money being saved, more money being invested, and also more money to spend. You can live a nicer lifestyle while you're also investing more money. But the reason why this is so important is you don't just get caught up into this game of how do I just spend less money to have more money to invest. It's a great place to start, but you don't want to get caught up in that mindset. I want you to have a growth mindset and understand how you can grow your income so you can grow your whole wealth. All right. We have come a long way. Now let's talk about how you can be great before we talk about this. That way we can tie the entire video together. So let's talk about how you can be great. Here's how you be great. First, you need to be great for your family by protecting your assets, by hiring the right advisors. Number two, you want to be great for the community by knowing how to give back. Starting with your family. How do you be great for your family? Here's the reality. When people realize you have money, they're going to try to take their hands, put it in your pocket, and take some of your money for themselves. Attorneys love this game. How do I know that? Well, I am a licensed attorney, although I'm not your attorney. And there are many attorneys that are just looking for wealthy people to sue for whatever reason that they can possibly find, because they know that you might want to settle. And the settlement is a nice paycheck for that attorney. And so there's a lot of things that you can do here to protect yourself by having the right advisors. Number one, as you start to build more wealth, you want to look into getting an attorney for yourself. Maybe that's an estate planning attorney, so you can build a will, a trust, or some other sort of estate planning. That way you know what to do with your assets after you die. You can also take a look at getting a good tax advisor. Maybe that's an accountant. Maybe it is some other sort of tax attorney, depending on how much money you have and how sophisticated your wealth structure is. That way you know how you can pay less money in taxes legally so you can protect your assets financially. Maybe this means getting a financial advisor. Now, financial advisors are great, but you have to understand how to use a financial advisor and who they're right for. For some of you, maybe you don't need a financial advisor. I don't use a financial advisor, but maybe you would like that. Maybe you want somebody to help manage your money, somebody who's a professional. Great. Just understand some of the financial education concepts. That way you can talk to your financial advisor and understand if they're doing a good job for you. If you're looking for a financial advisor, you can check out some of my partners, again, down in the description. That way you can meet a financial advisor and have somebody who can hopefully help you build your wealth as well. This also means having advisors that can help you protect your assets with maybe things like life insurance. If you don't have life insurance and you don't have your wealth built yet, well, now your family is kind of at risk, because if you're the breadwinner in your family and something were to tragically happen to you, well, now your family could be stuck without you, which is an emotional loss, but also without that income as well. And that's where having some sort of life insurance could come in handy as a way to protect your family if a tragedy were to happen. Again, these are things that you just want to start thinking about. That way you can protect your family from these types of situations. Again, if you're looking for life insurance, I have a link to my partner down in the description. That way you can learn more and maybe get a free quote as well if that's something that you're interested in. But the whole idea here is is how do you protect your assets, that way you can take better care of your family and be great for your family. The second part of this is being great for your community by giving back, because the reality is the more you have, the more you can do. And as you build more wealth, well, now you can help many other people. And there's a lot of ways that you can help. Maybe this is through your money. Maybe this is through your time. Maybe this is through your knowledge or expertise. Because sometimes people just need a little bit of a helping hand or a little bit of a nudge to help them get to the next level. And as you build more wealth, I believe it's important for you to give back and share that as well. And now that we have finished part B, we're going to tie this whole video up by going back to the beginning and talking about how you can pre-climb. And the reason why I talk about pre-climb last in this video is because this is such an important concept. But what I've seen happen is many times people will watch this and leave and not watch the rest of the video, which is the practical steps. So I want to talk about the practical steps first, that way more people stay and watch that. So hopefully we can get more people to watch this as well, because we see the analytics, we see the tracking, and sometimes people watch this and leave and then they miss on all of this. So my goal is that you watch this and watch this by keeping this in the end. So we'll see what happens. But the pre-climb is all about priming your mindset to understand how you can become wealthy as well. Here's the brutal reality. You have to be wealthy in your mindset before you can be wealthy in your bank account. You can do everything right. You can learn all of this stuff. But until you believe that you're going to become wealthy, you're never going to want to do it. Because if you think that building wealth is evil or bad or something that's just so taboo, why would you want to do that for yourself? Because you're not going to want to do something that's going to make you evil or that's going to make you a bad person. And so you're going to sabotage your success. You're going to sabotage your ability to actually see that wealth that you want. And so you have to work on your mindset, understand that you will become wealthy and that's your duty to become wealthy, and understand how money plays a part in your life. Because the reality is many people grow up in a house where we're told money is limited, money is bad, money is evil, you can't afford nice things, you can't have nice things. And this gets ingrained into our mindset, into our thinking, into our psyche, and you have to break that. This is the reason why so much poverty is generational. It's not because poverty is in your DNA. It's because when you grow up hearing those things, you believe those things. And then you tell your kids those things. Your kids tell their kids those things, and it gets passed on generation after generation. And you want to be the person that breaks that. But this is going to require some real work into changing the way that you think. And that's going to mean when you start to see yourself slipping, thinking that, oh, this person must have done something bad because they're rich. Oh, money is evil. Oh, money doesn't matter. You change that thinking and understand, hey, money is just a tool. I mean, it's emotionless. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. It doesn't make you a good person or a bad person. It just amplifies who you are. If you give a good person more money, they have a tool to do more good. You give a bad person more money, they have a tool to do more bad. That's why we need more good people with money. And understanding, hey, money is not going to fix everything in your life, but it will make the financial part of your life easier. Maybe that can help you work on the other parts of your life. Maybe that means if you're not stressed about money, you can go out and spend more time in the gym. You can spend more time with your family. You can spend more time traveling. You can do more things that find you purpose. That money itself is not going to make you happy. Maybe it will for 2 weeks. But that money itself is not what life is about. It's what money can buy you. It's the freedom, and it's the time that is what's more important. But it requires you to understand, hey, look, it is your duty to become successful. It's not a bad thing to go out and want to become wealthy. It's not a bad thing to become wealthy. It's just a tool to allow you to do more things that you love. And that's the pre-climb, is building that mindset. Because if you don't have the right mindset, none of this education matters. Because you can have all the financial education in the world, but you're going to stop yourself from becoming successful. We all know that person, that negative person who has a problem with every successful person, who has a problem anytime you have a financial idea, an investment idea, they find the problems with everything. Well, you're never going to be able to become successful if you're always thinking like that. You have to think in terms of abundance. There's a lot of money out there. And it sounds weird, especially the first few times, but as you start to try it, you start to realize that you are painting your own life. You're painting your own reality. I mean, we can create a very negative and horrible reality. Guess what? There's a lot of crap in the world. People are dying. There's a lot of crap that happens. There's a lot of bad things in the world. There's a lot of bad people in the world. Or we can paint a picture of beauty. There's a lot of beautiful nature in the world. Guess what? There's a lot of good people in the world. A lot of people that are giving so much in this world. So many opportunities in the world. There's some people that are becoming so successful in this world. There's so many great things in the world. There's so much great beauty in the world. Which one do you want to see? Understand both, but which do you want to focus on? And understanding, when you start to focus on the opportunity, you see more opportunity. When you focus on the negative, all you see is bad. And that's why you have to understand this, that we can take advantage of all of this as well. And with that, I hope now we have laid out the foundation for you to actually build wealth. Understand, this is not an overnight thing. I talk about a decade of sacrifice. This is a decade of spending less and earning more so you can invest like crazy, that we can build real wealth and not have to worry about money again. But it starts with you taking the first step, working on the mindset, and keep growing one small step at a time. Let me show you what to do with your next paycheck. That way you actually have a system to build wealth step by step. Let's assume that you make $60,000 a year. That's $5,000 a month. The problem with this $5,000 a month is you don't get to keep all that money because you got to pay taxes.